News Center Maine is partnering with the Maine-Monitor to bring you some of the reporting being done by journalists at the nonprofit independent publication. We're featuring one of their stories each Monday. The Maine Senate race appears set after Graham Plattner secured the Democratic nomination to take on Republican Senator Susan Collins in the November election. The race has already attracted millions in spending from donors across the country, including donations from some of the world's wealthiest people. Here to break down the billionaire money in the race is Josh Keefe, a reporter with the Maine-Monitor. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Katie. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so you took a look at how billionaires are spending in this race. What did you find?
So what we did is we basically looked through the campaign finance data and compared it to the Forbes billionaire list. And what we found is that at least 79 billionaires have donated to committees supporting Susan Collins from January 2025 through May 20th this year. It's the most recent data we have. So 79 billionaires have donated to Collins. If you include their spouses, that number rises to 97. And collectively, that group has donated about 9.8 million to those groups supporting Collins. And that's about a third of what the total amount of money those groups have raised. And then on the other side, Graham Plattner has received donations from 5 billionaires, but that's a much smaller amount of money. It's only a total of about $24,000 compared to 9.8 million for Susan Collins.
So a lot of money in this race. Who are some of these billionaires?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the biggest donation to Collins was actually to a super PAC that's supporting her. That was from Ken Griffin. That was 2.5 million. He's the founder and CEO of Citadel, which is a big hedge fund. Another 2 million was donated by Stephen Schwartzman, who's the co-founder, chair, and CEO of Blackstone. He's considered the king of private equity. Another million was given to Collins from James Davis, who's the chair of New Balance, which has manufacturing facilities here in Maine. For Plattner, it's a much smaller list, but one of them is George Soros, who's a mega donor for Democratic candidates. Also, Christy Walton, who married into the Walton family.
So looking at these two candidates, why is there such a difference in the amount that billionaires are donating?
Right. So there's a couple things. One is just the fact that Susan Collins is head of the Appropriations Committee in the Senate. She's very powerful. She's been there a very long time, and she has voted. She voted for the Trump tax cuts in 2017, which lowered taxes for a lot of these people. And the other side of that is Plattner is very explicit in his anti-billionaire message. So it makes sense that they might not want to donate to him quite as much. But I think there's also some structural differences between the campaigns. One is that Susan Collins has a devoted super PAC. And super PACs were created after Citizens United, the Supreme Court decision. And they basically, that decision said that independent groups that not connected to the campaigns can raise and spend unlimited amounts of money. That's different than a campaign which has contribution limits. So Susan Collins has one of those supporting her, and that's how her donors can donate, $2.5 million, $2 million to the super PAC. Plattner doesn't have that apparatus, so his contributions to his campaign are limited to a few $1,000s. That being said, now that Plattner's won the nomination, some of the experts I talked to said like they would expect at some point a super PAC to back Plattner. Plattner has said that super PAC should be outlawed, so that remains to be seen. But there is a certain part of this is that on some level, the donors know Collins is going to be the nominee. That hasn't been clear necessarily for Plattner.
Right. And what do the campaigns have to say about this?
So we asked both campaigns. Susan Collins' campaign did not give us an answer did not respond to our questions. And the Plattner campaign gave us a statement basically saying Susan Collins' campaign is backed by billionaire donors, and they pointed out that their average donation is $26, and they said their campaign is built on a movement funded by the people. So those were the two responses we got for asking about these donations.
Josh Keefe, thank you very much for telling us about all this.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And you can read the full story at the-maine-monitor.org.